Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting of June 3rd, 2025. I call the meeting to order at 5:02, and I would now ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Mayor Sidney.
Present.
Reeve Emo. Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhirter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Cebulski.
Present.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Present.
Mayor Sidney, we do have quorum.
Thank you. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all of the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Can I please have you stand for O Canada? Any declarations of interest? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on to delegations. Before we get into delegations, just to remind the people doing the delegations that we have a 10-minute limit. And council, if you do have any clarifying questions, but this is not a debatable point of this point, it's just more to hear the people and get any clarification questions that you might have. So with that, I'd like to first invite Jack Groenwood up, please. Just make sure the green light is on your mic.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the chair, the mayor, and all you councillors for the time to listen to my grievance about my water bill. My name is Jack Groenwood, residing at 113 Otter Ridge here in Renfrew. I wish to speak about my water bill that I received last year for July and August of 2024. The bill I received was for $749.06, and that was for the consumption of 123.413 cubic meters of water. Probably fill this room up. A lot of water. I made a phone call to the town of Renfrew to complain about this bill. I was forwarded on to Megan Jessup, Revenue Coordinator. After telling her about my problem, she asked me to drop by and pick up a leak test, and I did so. I did the test, there were no leaks in the toilet bowls. I then phoned a plumber to drop by to see if he could see or hear any leaks. None were found. I notified Megan of my findings, and she mentioned that she will drop by and get data from the water meter, and she did drop by the same day. She sent me the results of the data recovered. I had continuous consumption from July 10th to the 16th, 24 hours a day for 6 days. Unheard of. During this period of time, we were home at all times. We do not have a pool, never noticed the toilet leaking, and I have no outdoor tap. Well, sorry, I have one outdoor tap. It was turned on. If it was turned on, I would, hang on a second. If it was turned on, I would have a flood in my backyard for sure. There was a pool that was filled up a couple of doors down around the same time, just down 3 doors, I think it was. The log shows that the continuous water flow started around noon of the 10th of July and stopped at the same time on the 16th. A little weird. Megan said, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do at this time since there was no issue detected and repaired that I would not qualify for a leak adjustment credit. A leaking toilet could use 1 cubic meter of water a day. I have 3 toilets. That would not even get near 123 cubic meters of water use. An outdoor tap will use an average flow of 720 meters per hour, which equates to 17 cubic meters per day, or 102 cubic meters of water over 6 days. Nowhere near the 123. This tap was not on. 2024 was a dry summer. Sorry, was not a dry summer, and we do not water our grass. This tap is seldom used. We would have heard this if it was on or seen it, that it was on. In 6 days, we would have seen if it was on or not. Our average consumption of water our average consumption of water per billing period is 17.45 cubic meters for an average bill of $165 per billing period. My wife and I are the only residents of the house. We are on a fixed income, and I work supplement for income by driving a school bus. We did pay this bill, but felt we needed to take this further. This is why I'm here today. I'll try to have some sort of resolve. Again, I do thank you for your time. That's my problem.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from council? Councillor Anderdick?
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. Just a clarifying question. So for July, August 2024, $700 and change, and ever since then, nothing.
Normal.
And
before that was normal as well.
What is your normal bill for 2 months over there, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, but I just mentioned it.
I apologize. Yeah.
165.82.
165 every 2 months.
Yeah.
And again, Mayor Sidney, 100%. No neighbor hooked up a hose.
Absolutely not.
I just wanted to make sure.
It's right at our side deck. We have a side deck, and the tap and the hose are right here. We're always sitting on the side deck. That hose, it was running for 6 days solid.
Okay.
Something was.
Okay. My next question is you've done your due diligence, and it sounds like the staff were very cooperative with you, so that's good. What are you looking for today? Like, you've come to council?
I'd like credit on the full thing, because for one thing, I have a hose sitting there running for 6 days.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, you'd catch it at home too. Everybody would catch it, right?
Okay.
Even in a day, I don't water my grass.
Yep.
I got a little garden in the back I use very little of.
Okay.
I would like compensation for the whole bill, really.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Hearing none. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Sorry, in this format, is the question for him or directed towards staff? Mayor, through you.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. For a delegation, typically any clarifying questions are presented to the delegate directly. If council would like more information from staff, that is more of a notice of motion down below. This is not an opportunity to enter into debate.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for listening to me.
Our next delegation is Mr. Norman Bujo.
Your Worship, and members of council and staff.
You need to be in front of the mic.
So this is going to be a little bit.
I would like to speak, everybody to hear me if I can just go to the easel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll fix the mic over there for you.
Okay, thanks for having me. Or corner of your desk. I'm too big to be standing in everybody's way here, so I'll just kind of move that. Yes, hello, my notes here. Yes. The town is always struggling to get roads fixed, and with the budget, and appreciate it, and everybody's always pushing to get roads, and I'm going to speak about one road. I believe it was fixed in 2023. It was in really rough shape, and I know the neighborhood, they really, really appreciate it. Those homes in that neighborhood are about 100 years old. And I just maybe like to draw a little picture of how things were designed in the past and maybe how things are looking now. So this is my PowerPoint presentation, old school. But I like to maybe talk about some old school ethics and some old school building techniques at the same time. So, typical house. We're coming down here. Here's your basement. Here's your ground level. It's going up to your street. Very, very simple. There's your rough street and away it goes. The design has always been the same. We have sewer in the street, hopefully lower than the footing. So we run a sewer line just below the footing, comes up, services to the house, and at the same time, there's a floor drain. So if any water ever comes into the basement, it simply runs away. That's the way it was done in 1925 when these houses were built, and it should be built like that now. Particular house I'm talking about is at 356 Hague Street, and it's owned by a friend, Susan Barr. And I got a phone call in mid-March. The basement had flooded. There was more than a foot of water in the basement. There was never any water in this basement before. So she asked me to come over because I have knowledge. I've got many residential units and I've built lots, so maybe I could have a better understanding why after 100 years there was a foot of water in this basement. So I went over, and first thing we had to do was the lowest part is where the drain is, so get a pump and pump it down to where the drain is until there's no more water, and determine where the water is coming in. Well, the water was coming in from the old drain, from the drain. Okay, so how can water be coming in from the drain unless it's sewage? Well, it wasn't sewage water, it was storm water. We can all smell the difference. So storm water is coming in it. Something doesn't make any sense. There's something here changed. Well, yes, when the street was put in 2023, somebody from the construction company came in and they ran a new sewer line. Oh, really? Well, you can see it right there. I do see it right there. It's 1.5 feet off the floor. It's going through the wall right here. What happened that somebody actually came in the house, eliminated this, cut this line off, and put a new sewer line in. To me, I would think that the contractor had the new sewer too high and could no longer service the house from below the footing. So had to put a new hole through the wall, run to a new sewer, which is obviously, you'll obviously find that. Come out to here. Great. There's your outlet. Where's your drain? There is no drain. Now your old drain becomes your inlet. So in 2024, when there was very little snow, there was no issue. 2025, snow melt, it comes up, the outlet becomes the inlet. You get a foot of water in here, floods the furnace, brand new furnace, $5,000, motherboard's gone, the motors are gone in the furnace, everything in that basement is ruined. This was brought to the attention of the town. Of course, you can never get anybody, you always have to leave a voicemail. Doesn't matter where it is, but the town is very, very similar. You leave a voicemail, sometimes people get back to you, sometimes they don't. So after talking to pretty well everybody I could find, even the janitor, well, the issue should be going back to the contractor, should be going back to JP2G, the consultant, because they supervise that job. Okay, I called the contractor, because I know the well, the warranty is only for a year, and if this flood happened in 2024, the year there was no snow, we'd be liable for this. But we're not because our year is up. Call the consultants. Okay, what's going on? You got files on this. Yeah, we see that we had to do something there, but I'm not sure what it is. But everybody knows that when there is a screw up like this, and you have to put a drain in here, building code says you have to put a sump pump in. You have to be able to get rid of that water in the basement. So what they've done is just caused a swimming pool here, no drain. When they come in to do this, they should have installed a sump pump. If water came into the basement, it would be gone. It would be 101 years of no water. that's not what they did. It was sheer negligence. I've been after the town, everybody that I could speak to, every employee. I would talk to the consultant, I talked to the contractor. Everybody said, nothing we can do, but you got to see your insurance company. Maybe they'll do something. So Susan Barr, the owner, has about $5,000 for the furnace, $2,000 for the deductible, $954 for the new sump pump. So she uses her claim. So now if there's ever a problem again, she already used her mulligan. She's owed $2,000 and $954 on the sump pump. And this was in March, April, May, June. Has anybody even got back to me on this from the town or anybody? No. Has the town even sent somebody over to look at this after I've told everybody what the issue was? No, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Go through your insurance company. So what if the senior citizens got to come up with $2,000 and everything else to fix the problem? Everybody walked away from this. Nobody cares. So I am asking the town to first maybe look at that project to see if this was done in other houses so we don't have problems with other seniors that are living on the street. Because it happened to one, it may be happening to other ones. Two, we should look at why this gentleman that somebody got back to him right away was really great. Two is why I'm even here explaining this when this should have been settled long before this, but it wasn't. Nobody cared, everybody passed the buck. Go see the engineer, go see this one, go see that one, go see that one, go see the insurance company. It was past the buck stops here. There's a $2,000 deductible, there's a cost of the sump pump, there should be other costs, but I think the town should be liable for that, and I think the town should look into this situation. So I can leave the invoice here for the sump pump and whatever else, but I see no reason why a senior citizen been here for 100 years in this house, never had a drop of water, should have to settle with this. So, if there's any questions?
Any clarifying questions from council? Thank you. And now the representative from the BIA.
Good evening, Your Worship, Council, and thank you for accommodating our presentation here this evening. My name is Mel Blimke. I am the Treasurer of the Downtown Renfrew BIA, as well as the Chair of the Attraction and Awareness Committee. I'm here this evening along with my esteemed colleagues to seek approval for the erection of 2 BIA, what we call Attraction and Awareness message boards. One we would like to see located at Low Square, the other would be at the MyFM Center. I know that there's been a sort of a presentation that was sent out. I'm just going to quickly give you a little bit of background on these boards. As presented and introduced at our annual AGM, part of our ongoing marketing and promotion strategy is to support our membership, and we feel with the installation of these 2 attraction and awareness message boards, it would be a big help. Purchased in 2024, these fixed double-sided information boards ideally will be approved to be located in these 2 highly visible areas. Those locations again being Low Square and Mattaway Park. We feel that the Low Square location is a convenient area, it's highly visible and visited. It is a central setting for several activities and events including the Beer Fest, Dog Days of Summer, Light Up the Square, as well as Music in the Square, and numerous social clubs use that for their activities as well. We feel with this exposure, you think of maybe somebody visiting downtown Renfrew in the summer or at their garage sale in the spring, sees the board, sees that the Beer Fest is in the fall, they're going to come back to town. The other one is the Mattaway location. It will be visible to all traffic that visits the MyFM centers, numerous activities and events, as well as all the recreational participants and visitors using the arenas, the splash pad, or the tennis or playground facilities. So under the banner of What's Up Downtown, these 40 by 40 inch plexiglass attraction and awareness communication boards will offer 4 distinct messages. So side one, if we could just flip maybe to the that one, we keep going past that, yeah. So this is the first side, side A, and on that we have 4 distinct things happening. One is going to be under the banner of What's Up Downtown. There'll be a listing of all the BIA activities and events, as well as all the recreational, promotion events for the calendar year. So what this is going to do is it's going to highlight everything at once. So again, people can see it. They can pick maybe something that's going to be in the future. This will help to promote each event in a timely manner and to bring awareness to and encourage revisits of out of town and local audiences alike who may not have known of these promotions. So that's going to be the one thing. The other one that's going to be on there is a poster of the next current event. So we'll be able to highlight the next event in a little bit bigger fashion, which again will help bring the audience to the downtown. The bottom section will feature a map of the downtown Renfrew BIA designated area. So we'll have our 3 streets that would be highlighted there with the cross streets, public attractions, handicap parking, direction arrow to help with the orientation. There will be a QR code that takes the viewers directly to the business directory. And again, using their phone, I understand you can do this now, but by so that's going to show you again all the free listings for all of our members. The bottom section that has the map on it is also going to be an opportunity for, around the outside of this, you'll see that there is some advertising opportunity. So should one of our members want to buy one of the ads, it will have a number that is referenced onto the map just to help them sort of orientate where their store would be. The attraction awareness, there'll be 24 advertising spaces on that. And again, we encourage any of the members that want to go on there, more of a generic message, and they can then, again, use a QR code to direct them to their own business. So side A is going to be for the members. It's going to help highlight events. Think of maybe being out at Mattaway. Mom and Dad are there with little Johnny to a hockey tournament. They win their first game at 9 o'clock in the morning. Next game's at 3. They've got this board. They take a look. They say, oh, we can go and have lunch here, or we can do this activity, we shop here. Side 2 is, we feel, very exciting, and for a couple of reasons. With side 2, we're trying to offer some outside partnerships, and this is going to be advantageous in a number of ways. On the opposite side, the BIA will utilize the space as a marketing tool to attract out-of-town attractions and businesses to partner through an associated membership with us. Thank you. This ad will identify where they are located and the exact distance to their location. So it's going to be under the heading of, well, we're closer than you think. And when you look on this grid, you're going to see something like Boncher Caves. So it says, you know what, you're only 27 minutes to Boncher Caves. So again, think of people downtown at an event. They're thinking, what do we do for the rest of the day? The kids, or they've got this opportunity. You can see on there we could promote the Renfrew Museum and the Swinging Bridge, a lot of other attractions that would be within the area. We find this beneficial for a couple of reasons. Now we have a partnership outside of the downtown core that we're sharing this with, but not only that, we are now able to give our marketing material to these attractions as well. So you think maybe Mom and Dad came from Toronto and went right to Boncher Caves. Come out of the caves, they've got their kiosk there, there's our rack card in there. They said, oh, Renfrew's only 27 minutes, we're going to go downtown shopping. So we're looking for approval this evening to get the green light for us to put these boards into place and get the promotion going. Questions or concerns?
Any questions from council? Councillor Andrew Dick?
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. So you're looking for approval tonight to do that?
No, we wanted to approach council tonight and to, I guess, start the ball rolling. Because we're asking to have these erected on town property, it was our understanding that this is the channel that we go through to have that approved.
Okay. follow up to the clerk, if you don't mind, Mayor Sidney. So this is a notice of motion, obviously, one of us will have to do to move forward with this.
Through you, Mayor Sidney, yes, if council is, after hearing the presentation, wishes to, later in the agenda, a notice of motion can be put forward to direct staff to work with the BIA or however you choose to word it at the time.
Okay, thank you. Just a comment. I'll put the notice of motion forward tonight, and then in 2 weeks, the fellow councillors and myself will debate it, and we'll see what happens.
I
How's that
appreciate your
sound?
time. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Mayor Sidney.
I have one quick question. Did you say
Thanks.
you bought them already?
Yes, we had them in the budget for last year, and we needed to we had sort of promised to spend those monies on those, and so we did purchase them last year, yes. So they're bought, paid for, and just waiting to go.
Perfect. Great, thanks. Any other questions from council? Hearing none? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no presentations. Any announcements or community events? Councillor Degree?
Sorry, I lost my page. Through you, Mayor Sidney, I just have one announcement. I just want to remind everyone that the town of Renfrew has opened nominations for Citizen of the Year awards. This is a great opportunity to recognize the outstanding individuals and organizations that make our community a better place to live. The award categories this year are Citizen of the Year, Community Champion of the Year, which could be individual or group, Youth Volunteer, age 25 and under, individual or group, Senior Volunteer, age 65 or older, and Nonprofit of the Year. So it must be a registered charity, non-profit or not-for-profit organization in Canada's. Individuals being nominated must live in the town of Renfrew, and not-for-profit organizations or groups must operate in the town of Renfrew. So you can submit your nominations by emailing Hannah McMillan at hmcmillan@renfrew.ca with the subject line 2025 Citizen of the Year, or you can drop it off in person at the Town Hall, MyFM Centre office, or the Renfrew Public Library. Nominations will be closing Wednesday, June 11th, and I want to thank On Track Employment Resources for sponsoring this year's Citizen of the Year Awards. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on to Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council convene as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council. Mover, please. Councillor Anderdick, second by Councillor Degree. Any discussion? All in favor? We are now in Committee of the Whole. Going down to E.1.1. That the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council approve the noted improvements to MyFM Centre and Mattaway Park with the funding approved by Recreation Fundraising Committee. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Andrew Dick. And I will now turn it over to Director Latondras.
Thank you, through your worship. So for a number of years, the Renfrew Recreation Fundraising Committee has supported the town by raising funds with the intention of reinvesting into town projects and improvements within Mattaway Park and the MyFM Centre. Past projects have included seating in the Delory Arena, bleacher seating in the Home Hardware Gymnasium, and more. This year, there's been several projects that have been decided on by the committee that we're bringing forward tonight. These include a renovation of the flooring in the Renfrew Recreation Fundraising Team Hall, salvaging a small bank of lights from the rec center to be installed in the hall, in the main hall, updating of the Welcome to Mattaway Park sign, installation of mirrors in the McGrimmons Holdings Fitness Center, and fencing around the gas and HVAC equipment at the entrance to the Kelly Homes lobby. As these are improvements to town-owned assets and we're not included in the as part of the 2025 budget, approval by council is required prior to proceeding with procurement.
Thank you. Any questions from Council? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney. Through you, just to clarify, this is coming from the Recreation Committee, the Fundraising Committee, sorry. So the town is not paying for any of this.
That's correct.
Perfect, that's it, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. On to E.2.1. Bear with me. That the Committee of the Whole received the Bill 17 Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025 overview and anticipate impacts report as information. That staff be directed to prepare written comments to the province on the proposed legislation and changes, highlighting municipal consideration. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree, and I will turn it over to Director Withers.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Sidney, this is a piece of omnibus legislation passed by the provincial government known as Bill 17, the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025. It's currently in first reading, and the province is receiving comments through the environmental registry, and there are postings on the registry for that purpose. The staff report, I won't go over each implication or proposed change in detail. It's all before you. If you have any specific questions about any of the proposed changes, please ask. I'll be happy to answer them. The notification from the minister is attached as Appendix A. A summary of the proposed legislation by Osler is attached as Appendix B, and a letter to municipal clients from Watson and Economists as a result of the Development Charges Act amendments is attached as Appendix C. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Any questions from council? Hearing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, council. On to E.2.2. That the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council adopt the following resolution and direct staff to forward the same to the County of Renfrew. That Renfrew Town Council support the extension of draft approval by the County of Renfrew for property identified as being part of lots 10 and 11, concession 3, Town of Renfrew for the draft plan of subdivision known as Huntergate subdivision, having county file number 47T-92002 and town file number D-12000. Mover, please. Councillor McCurder, second by Councillor McDonald, and I'll turn it back over to Director Withers.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Sidney, this is the annual requirement for extension of draft approval for the Huntergate subdivision, phases 4 to 6, county file number 47T-92002. This is required annually by June 7th of each year, failing which the subdivision lapses and the applicant's required to return to the county for draft approval and go through the whole process again. As council's aware, phase 4 of the subdivision has been approved. The developer is currently working on registering phase 5, and phase 6 will follow, so we can anticipate several more extensions will be required. The current status is that the developer is undertaking early servicing under the approved early servicing agreement. We will be issuing a commencement of construction notice retroactive to about a month ago when the ECA was approved by the town. The developers also submitted a draft M plan for review. The town's provided comments, and the surveyors are awaiting instructions from the developer to proceed with those revisions. There are a number of financial requirements and payments that are required to be made, and we are advised that they are forthcoming. And then once those are received, we can move forward with the subdivision agreement for phase 5. And registration will be at such time as the developer is prepared to construct those homes. Thank you.
Any questions from council? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. On to E.2.3. Bear with me here, I'm having a... That the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the Town of Renfrew and the County of Renfrew regarding the Boncher Manor Modular Housing Development, and authorize the Mayor and Clerk to execute the agreement. Further, the Council acknowledged the MOU is scheduled for endorsement by the County of Renfrew Development and Property Committee on May 28, 2025. Mover, please. Councillor Degree, second by Councillor McCorder, and I will turn it back over to Director Withers.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Sidney. So we are requesting deferral of this item until the June 24th Committee of the Whole meeting. We do have to revisit the building permit fees. We applied the rate for apartments. The CBO is of the opinion that the townhouse rate should be utilized for it. The effective is really just the opportunity cost that to the town as a result of the waiving of the building permit fees. So we'll just bring forward an adjusted number on the 28th for council's consideration. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'll turn it over to the clerk.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. Based on staff's request to defer, then I would suggest that the following motion be put on the table, that Renfrew Town Council defer the bonus share manor proposed modular home development MOU until the next regular meeting of council dated June 24th, 2025.
Moved by Councillor Anderdick, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. On to E.2.4, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the application of the HSWSF through grant match for the water treatment plant filter rehabilitation. Mover, please. Councillor McCorder, second by Councillor Legree, and I will turn it over to Manager Springer.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So the Health and Safety Water System Fund is a grant opportunity provided by the province of Ontario to support water infrastructure projects that improve public health and safety. The grant can fund up to 73% of approved projects, with the remaining 27% to be funded by the municipality or other sources. The town of Renfrew, in collaboration with Aqua, have identified the filters at the water treatment plant as a project that would benefit from this funding. The filter rehabilitation includes two parts. So the first being concrete repairs and replacement of the launders in filters 1 and 2, which are the oldest filters. An assessment was done in 2014, which identified deterioration and recommended remedial action. The Class C cost estimate at that time was $230,000 plus engineering and project management fees. This work has also been identified in the town's asset management plan as a 2022 project, however, was not completed at that time. Today, it is estimated that this work would cost $300,175 based on the Bank of Canada's inflation calculator, and about $91,000 for engineering and project management, which is based on a 2022 quote that has been adjusted for inflation. The second part of this project would be media replacements for filters 2 and 3. This work has been identified in Aqua's capital forecast for 2026 and 2027. Media replacements for filter 1 are being undertaken currently and would not be eligible for the grant. Based on the 2025 quoted cost for the media replacement in filter 1, this work is estimated to cost $400,000. So the total estimated cost of this work is $900,000, including non-refundable HST and a 10% contingency. Staff have been in consultation with Grant Match, a firm that assists both private and public sectors in funding applications and compliance reporting. The professionals at Grant Match have the knowledge and expertise to increase the probability of a successful grant application. Their services come at a 10% fee of the funding award. However, if the application is unsuccessful, no fee is owed to Grant Match. A proposal from Grant Match is attached. Staff are recommending utilizing Grant Match's services to have the best chance at receiving funding for this critical work. So the options are to use Grant Match, not use Grant Match, or not submit a application at all. We will note that we were not successful in 2024 for the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund, which is considered to be a bit of a sister fund to this fund, and the professional support from Grant Match would help increase our chance of being successful for this funding. And we could attempt to submit an application without the assistance of Grant Match, but due to competing priorities, it would be very difficult to complete an application by the deadline, which is June 26th. That's all I can take. Any questions?
Any questions from council? Councillor McWhorter?
For you, Chair. So the difference would be to the town if we were successful getting the grant would be $400,000. And is that, if that's right, would that possibly come out of the water fund reserve?
Through you, Mayor. So if we were unsuccessful for this grant, it would have to come out of reserves. I think that's what you're asking.
If we were successful, would the difference come out of reserves?
Council could probably figure that out. It would be for next year's budget. So we would figure that out at the time. But yes, it most likely would come out of reserves, for water reserves.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. So I'm just dumb it down a little bit here for me. So you're asking permission to write the application, but then on number 2, you say although the town could attempt to submit an application without the assistance of grant match due to competing priorities, it would be difficult to prepare an application for the deadline on June 26. So I'm confused. You're asking to write an application, but you're saying you don't have time to do the application. I just need some clarification, Mayor Sidney.
Andrew Springer.
Through you, Mayor. We're asking to write the application, one, because we are required, because of recent notice of motion, to ask for council to approve any application for grants. But the second part of that is we're asking for grant match, which is a private company that assists with grant writing, to actually write it on our behalf. And they would, if the funding is successful, they would take a small fee of 10% of whatever the award was.
Councillor Sabowski.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So the small fee is $65,700. Nice business. If they don't get the grant, they don't charge us. They get the grant, they get us for $65,700. My question is, if we are successful, do we get an opportunity for a learning queue for our staff to see how they wrote this grant? Because although I like the idea, if successful, it's still $65,700 that we could have written the grant if it took us 2 weeks of effort and been successful otherwise. So I'm trying to figure out a way for the future learning that we don't have to spend this money going forward. Will we get an opportunity to review what they do?
Director Withers.
Hey, thank you. Through you, Mayor Sidney. So it's more than just kind of filling out the forms and crossing your T's and dotting your I's. There's a relationship element here that we think might be valuable. Grant match, they will file multiple applications for each program, and so they kind of know the folks involved. It's not to say that you couldn't establish a relationship with it. We just think the success rate is potentially higher with this organization doing it. We don't know if that's actually the case. We'll have to see if that's the case. But we've certainly applied for grants in the past. There's been a mix of success, but at the end of the day, it's kind of more than just filling out the forms and actually making the application. We think that there is potentially the added value that this company brings just due to the fact that they are working with the program representatives regular all day, right? So.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney. And then just, I'm gonna continue on the follow-up because now I'm interested. So grant match, I understand the concept. Have we used them before with any other grant applications, or is this just something new that the staff are? This is our very first time using them.
Director Withers.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Sidney. So this was brought up, connected with the town through the previous treasurer. I'm not entirely sure how she became connected or got in touch with this organization, but it was brought forward as a potential partnership opportunity. So that's as far as I can advise you on that. But this would be the first application. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and thank you, Director Withers, for that answer. Now I'm going to, if you don't mind, Mayor Sidney, I'll throw this question directed towards the CEO. Is it beneficial for our staff to use grant match moving forward, or do we feel our staff are capable of doing it on their own? Obviously, many hours would go into a grant application, so pros and cons, like I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm seeing the benefits of using grant match. But I would like your opinion on this, if you don't mind.
See you.
So through you, Mayor, to Councillor Andrzejczyk, the process for these type of grants that they have recently came out with in the last year, with the couple of sister ones that the manager had referenced last year, the Housing Enabling Water Systems Funds that they did. I completed a couple of those applications for my previous municipality last year. When you are done all of the work, and it's pretty much 2 weeks straight of doing literally nothing else, with multiple staff having to be involved, the application piece itself became about 30 to 40 pages long. All of the attachments and appendices you had to submit made most of the applications up over 600 pages, depending on how many ECAs and everything that you needed to provide. It does take a lot of work and a lot of investment of time to be able to prepare them, and it's hard to get them to be very successful because every municipality is applying, and it's a very limited number of funds that they put into these projects. And if you can't word your application just right to show that it is building the extra houses or allowing for the extra houses to be built, your success rate drops significantly compared to other municipalities that might have somebody who's dedicated to writing just grants, which a lot of the larger municipalities are able to dedicate staff to that. A company like Grant Match can provide smaller municipalities that opportunity of knowing how to write things that it gets you the best chance. Are there skill sets that we have in our staff here to be able to do some of these? Yes. Do we have the time right now for this specific one? If it's anything like the ones that they had last year, I don't know if we have the time. Last year they gave us about 2 months to be able to prepare those, and they were still very difficult to do. This time they gave us a total of 5.5 weeks from when the announcement, I believe, was made, so it's not a lot of time to try to pull this all together. Companies like Grant Match have their purpose and good timings of when to use them and when to do them in-house and not have to pay the fee. With this specific one, as the amount of money that could be available to us, and if it's going to be evaluated similar to the ones from last year, I believe that a company would be beneficial, but not to say that it would be beneficial for every grant writing opportunity.
Okay. Councillor Cebulski.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, and I think in this point it's probably the best choice to go forward due to the detail. Do they offer, sorry, 2 parts to this. I'm anticipating they have a little bit of copy-paste, multiple people going after the same grant. Persona, possibly. I don't know if everything's individually written for Renfrew compared to the next, if there's multiple people going after a grant. And what's their success rate? Are they advertising a 30% success rate or anything at all? Just curious.
Director Brothers?
Yes, thank you. So when they brought the grant to our attention, we brought 2 projects forward as potential alternatives, potential candidates for the program. One was the O'Brien Road sewage pumping station that we all know has got to be redone at some point to the tune of $3 to $5 million. Potentially opens up the Renfrew secondary plan area, et cetera, et cetera. There was a specific requirement that this program, the project had to serve existing dwelling units and had to provide, had to have address a health and safety issue. Grant Match looked at the filter project and determined that it was the best candidate that we had that met the program requirements. So they are reticent to, they won't, because they do it for free if they're not successful, their underwriting process is pretty rigorous. So they came forward, they said it was the filters would have the best success rate. They do advertise on their website that they have approximately a 75% application success rate.
Any other question? Hearing seen none, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Council. That the Committee of the Whole receive the 2024 Water and Sewer Arrears Transfer to Taxes Report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Degree, seconded by Councillor McDonald, and I'll turn it over to Acting Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to council, this is just an annual report that shows council the transfer from water and sewer arrears onto the property tax cards. So, as noted, on the January-February 2025 water sewer bill, all property owners were notified that arrears related to 2024 water and sewer would be transferred to the property tax account if unpaid by April 15th. In May, we completed the analysis of the outstanding water and sewer arrears, and they were then transferred over to the property tax accounts, and the owners were notified by mail. And we have a 5-year comparison just for council information to note the trends in the year-over-year water transfers to the tax account.
Any questions from Councilor McDonald?
Thank you, Mayor, through you. To the financial officer, where are we with regard to the property taxes in arrears? So we're putting them onto the property taxes, but how's that relative to the water?
Through you. If some of these properties are within the tax sale threshold, these balances would be recoverable through the tax sale process. So if a property was within the tax sale process and went to tax sale, it'd be recovered at that time. Generally, when people have this transfer to this property tax account, they get their letter and they come in and pay it up. So it's it doesn't happen too often, but there are several properties that it does sit there, and then it just accumulates interest as well with property tax arrears, and then at the tax sale process, it then is recovered through that.
Any other questions from council? Hearing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you, council. Moving on to E.3.2. That the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council pass bylaw to adopt the 2025 BIA tax rate. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor McDonald. And over to Acting Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So to council, this is another annual report that has to occur in order to have a tax rate passed for the BIA tax rate, the BIA levy that is recovered as part of the annual final billing. In 2025, the amount of levy has increased from 80,000 to 105,000. In saying that, the assessment also increased due to the BIA expansion that occurred at the end of 24, early 2025. I believe it is actually bylaw number 1, 2025. So we started the year with that. Sorry. So yeah, this added 26 additional properties to the 101 for a total of 127 properties, increasing the assessment from 24 million and change to 27 million. This gives us our tax rate, as council is aware, similar to the standard municipal levy and municipal rate. So with that, we provided some information as to what the tax levy increase looked like, as well as what the tax rate increase looks like for the BIA levy. But with that, on the average BIA property, this results in about a $35 increase from 2024.
Any questions from council? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you, council. Moving on to E.5.1, that the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council proceed with the temporary road closures of Railway Avenue as presented. Mover, please. Councilor McCord, second by Councilor Legree, and I'll turn it over to Director Bishop.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. So the Downtown Renfrew BIA is launching the Heart of Renfrew Market this summer as part of their Support Downtown Renfrew Spend Local campaign. This event is scheduled to take place every Friday night in July and August from 4:30 to 7:30. So the BIA has requested that Railway Avenue be closed from 4 to 8 in order to set up for this event, including every Friday from July 4th until August 29th. The road will be closed between Plant and Raglan Street to allow for locally homegrown and handcrafted vendors. This is the same time that the Music in the Square event is happening in Low Square, so it's kind of a community event that supports visitor attraction and tourism. This will require road closure signage and barriers, which can be coordinated by Public Works staff and Recreation staff in order to set up and take down. So I'm assuming everyone has seen BIA advertisements for this event already. It's out there, and it looks like a great event to encourage tourism and supporting local. Thank you.
Any questions from council? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you, council. Moving on to E.6.1. That the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council approve the recommended changes to the council staff relations policy and direct staff to bring forward the appropriate bylaw for adoption. Mover, please. Councilor McDonald, seconded by Councilor Legree, and I will turn it over to Director Clerk Eric.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Sidney. So this policy here was originally passed in 2019 by a resolution. It was presented to this new term of council back in November 2022. The main updates kind of include current contact information and has been reviewed both by myself as well as the CAO. It also fits within our review policy schedule that was brought forward earlier this year. It's always good to do kind of a midterm review at this time, especially as it relates to council dynamics, and this kind of and this supports kind of a respectful and efficient kind of council staff relation. So if anybody has any questions.
Any questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Moving on to E.7.1, Treasurer Recruitment. That the Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council delegate up to 3 members of Council, the Chief Administrative Officer, and Renfrew County Human Resources Representative to perform first-round interviews for up to 6 candidates for the position of Treasurer/Director of Finance and Corporate Services, and further that a special meeting of Council be scheduled to complete second-round interviews for the top 2 to 3 candidates. Mover, please. Councilor Legree, seconded by Councilor McWhirter. I'll turn it over to our CAO.
Thank you, Mayor. So our position and advertisement for the Treasurer/Director of Finance and Corporate Services was issued on May 7th and did close on May 28th. We are currently going through the resumes that were received and are working on our short lists. I am basically seeking Council's direction as I have not been granted the delegated authority for this, so it is a Council decision, and so I just want to know kind of how involved does Council want to be in the interview process. And so that's where my several options were outlined of the various ways that you can be involved or how involved you'd wish to be. And I'm just seeking kind of direction to be able to start scheduling those interviews. And so I'm asking for this to come for Council's final approval today as well, once we're out of Committee of the Whole.
Any questions? Councilor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and I don't know about the rest of council, but I'll speak on my own. I feel this is a very important position. I don't know if I want to be on the first round of interview, but I think council as a whole should be able to sit in this room and interview the individuals that the committee brings forward. I know we had some rough issues with the last situation, and I wouldn't want to see that again. However, I'm just one voice, and I know I would like to interview the top 2 to 3 candidates that the committee wants to bring forward in hiring. So those are my thoughts on this situation.
So you like the motion that's been brought forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilor Legree.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So this is basically the same process we just used with the CAO. I think it worked really well. I don't think all of council needs to sit in on all the interviews, but the bottom, at the top, 2 or 3 definitely. So I'm also in support of this. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? All in favor of this motion? That's carried. Thank you, council. Moving on to adjournment. The Renfrew Town Council rise from Committee of the Whole. Mover, please. Councilor McDonald, second by Councilor McWhirter. All in favor? We are now out of Committee of the Whole. Moving on to F.1, Renfrew Hydro Shareholders Report. The Renfrew Town Council received the Renfrew Hydro Q1 Shareholders Report as information. Mover, please. Councilor Sobolski, second by Councilor Legree. Councilor Sobolski, you'd like to comment?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I won't speak much to it. We have a AMG coming up next week, if I'm not on the 19th. Thank you. from Renfrew Hydro. They will give us the whole story of 2024. Q1 reports there. If you have questions, reach out to me and I can definitely pass you off to anyone that can answer them better than I can. Thank you.
Any questions? All in favor? Great, thank you. Next one is that Renfrew Town Council endorsed the letter requesting the immediate removal of the town of Renfrew from the list of municipalities designated under the Strong Mayor legislation, and further direct staff to forward the letter to the office of the Premier, local MPP, and AMO. Mover, please. Councillor Legris, second by Councillor McDonald. Any questions on this? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you. Just, I thought it was well written, and I would like a recorded vote, please.
Any discussion on this? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. And with all due respect to this letter, I think it is, I'm trying to use the right words, it's not favorable for us to send this after the town has used the strong mayor power, and depending who you talk to, it's 3 times. I think it's 4 times. It's almost hypocritical where, Mayor Sidney, it's your name on the bottom of it, and you're asking, so it's on our, it's your name on the bottom, and you're saying that you don't agree with it, you want it removed, yet, Mayor Sidney, you used it. You used it 3 times. I say you used it 4 times. Again, as the lawyer said, it's to be interpreted. This has nothing against you, Mayor Sidney, in using it, because that's your right to use it. I just don't think it's appropriate for the town of Renfrew to send a letter to the Premier saying we want to take it away, but hey, we already used it. So I'm not in favor of sending this letter. I know the intention of it, and I respect the intention, but I don't think this is a really good idea, and so I'm not going to vote in favor of this. So thank you.
Councillor McWhorter?
I guess I'm on the opposite of that fence. I do appreciate this letter, and I appreciate it being done up at this time to be sent in. I totally agree that strong mayor powers are not meant for a small town municipality. I don't think that was the original intention. I think we got looped in. And the election next year is going to totally change this from my understanding. We could get step back from it now, but come next election, the next person up could also use their strong powers, and we're in the same boat again. And if any of us are left on council, we'll face that boat when we get to it. But I do appreciate the context of which this was written in, so thank you for that.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So I get what Councillor Andrew Dick is saying, but again, to Councillor McWhorter's point, it's about the future too. I think that people vote council in as a whole to make decisions. It shouldn't be one person sitting here that's removing stuff off of agendas and changing stuff like this. So I don't agree. I don't see how it builds homes faster for small municipalities like us. I don't agree with it. I haven't talked to anybody that has agreed with it, and I know it has been used here a few times, but I'm looking down the road into the future, and we got to make sure this is, I think this is removed for everybody. So thanks. Bye.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, whether it's to the clerk or the CEO, does it have to be your name on it, or can
I was just going to ask that question.
Okay, can it be councillor? So I'll let someone answer that. Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So the letter was originally drafted with Mayor Sidney's name on the base of it, as he is the head of council. However, if council so desires, somebody else's name could be put on it. It could be coming from the CAO with direction from council, with a resolution specifically from council indicated. It could be from all of council, and all of council signs it. So there are a number of options available.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and I just want to echo what my fellow councillors are saying. I do not agree with strong mayor powers. I don't think any councillor in Ontario agrees with it. I'm sure we've all watched the other council meetings across Ontario, and all councillors are upset about it. I would be in huge favor of not, and Mayor Sidney, again, this has nothing against you, it's just, we're asking the government to do something and you're signing it and you've already done it. So if we're going to say it's on behalf of the CAO, I like the coming from the CAO, on behalf of council, I would be in total favor of this letter going to the Premier if we could change that. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Councillor Degree?
Through you, Mayor Sidney. So I'm not sure if this is what Councillor Hendrick said or not. I'd like to see it, all of us sign it, that we're all, so it's different. I think that all the council, we should all sign it, saying it's coming from all of us. So that's my thoughts.
Any discussion from with preferences? So I have a question to council then. Would it be, and I'm not asking for your guidance on this, I'm just like, should my name stay off of it and I abstain from this because this is from council? Like, clerk. Sorry.
Through you, Mayor Cindy. I know that there has been concerns on some of the decisions that have been made thus far. I would like to remind council that some of those decisions had to be made in order for us to maintain the structure that we currently use as council. So as John Mascaron had presented to council on the 13th, you need to use the powers to sometimes not use the powers. So I know that there's some discussion that's been had in some of the decisions that have been made thus far. However, to not do anything as of May 1st and to not have made some of the mayoral decisions such as the committee structures and stuff, we wouldn't have been able to operate the way that we have. Our committee structures would not have been valid, and unfortunately we would not have been able to carry on with council in the format that we currently make. So again, I know that there is discussion on that. I acknowledge that there has been a decision outside of those, but I just want to say that to sit back and not use the powers right at the moment, unfortunately there are some things that are tied to legislation and that he needs to move forward with, as they were identified and outlined in the training session on the 13th.
Councillor McCorder.
Chair, I think it sends a stronger message if everybody on council signs this, including the mayor. It shows us unified in what we're asking for. I don't think anybody should be exempt from that. I appreciate what my fellow councillors are saying, but I think the stronger message is we're unified in what we want, and I have no problem with having Mayor Sidney's name on that at all. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you. So I do have a problem with Mayor Sidney's name going on, only because he's used it. That's my only issue. I respect the chair. I respect what Clerk Eric just said. I respect everything about it. I might not agree with the strong mayor powers, and that's okay. And they were used. And if Mayor Sidney was to sign it, then he's saying he wants to get rid of it, but I already used it. That's my only concern. Is it a deal breaker for me? I'd like to hear the other councillors' thoughts. I don't think it's a deal breaker for me. I think I will vote in favor of it if Mayor Sidney's name stays on it. I'm just letting you know my thoughts. I don't know what the other councillors are thinking. But again, it's not a deal breaker for me. If Mayor Sidney's name stays on it, I will still vote in favor of it. Just wanted to say my thoughts.
Councillor McCorder.
If I may, just as a follow-up, I totally understand Councillor Dix. I just spent at least an hour with two young ladies from staff explaining to me why the strong mayor's powers had to be used in two incidents for sure. If I get this wrong, ladies, I'm sure you'll correct me, but in order to proceed the way we have in a committee, that was another, the strong mayor's powers had to be used in order to do that, rather than abstain from not doing that. There was a couple of things that were done now, everything that was done for that reason, not my call, but I totally understand why at least two were made, so I'm good.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. The reality is we don't know how everyone's going to vote right now, so we're talking about putting everyone's name on it, and it is a recorded vote, and we don't have the reeve here. So to put everyone's name on it, I think that's a deal breaker for me at this point in time. I'm very comfortable with, if the motion is passed, directing the CAO on behalf of the council decision to move forward with it, because we don't have the reeve here, and we don't know how everyone's going to vote. So I'm very comfortable with the CAO. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody okay with the CAO on behalf of council? Okay. Any other questions? Good.
You're going to need a motion for that correction. I'm distracted. Distracted the other way.
Okay, so motion to have the CAO send on behalf of council.
Sign and.
To sign and send on behalf of council. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Degree? Any other further discussions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, council. Oh, sorry, recorded vote. My bad.
Well, no.
Sorry.
No, that's for that motion.
This motion is to add me as the signer.
Yes.
The recorded vote was requested for the actual letter itself. So basically, it's kind of like one of those amending. So, I mean, if you want a recorded vote, yeah.
And then I'll read the original motion.
Don't refresh your screen. I just knocked it off. Accidentally. Do it like that.
Okay. The Renfrew Town Council endorsed the letter requesting the immediate removal of the town of Renfrew from the list of municipalities designated under the strong mayor legislation, and further direct staff to forward the letter to the office of the Premier, local MPP, and AMO. We have a mover and a seconder already, so I will ask for the recorded vote.
Through you, Mayor Sidney, I'm going to start with Councillor McDonald, as he was the one who requested it.
In favor.
Councillor Legree.
In favor.
Councillor McWhorter.
In favor.
Councillor Sobolski.
In favor.
Councillor Dick.
In favor.
Remo was absent. And Mayor Sidney.
In favor.
Motion is carried 6-6.
Thanks. Moving on to the next motion, G.2. The Renfrew Town Council approve a fee waiver in the amount of $75 plus applicable taxes for the digital sign advertising for the period of June 1st to June 8th, 2025, as requested by Diana LaRocque on behalf of the Pet Value Renfrew Walk for Guide Dogs, and further that the waived amount be allocated from the grants organization's budget. Mover, please. Councillor Andrew Dick, second by Councillor Legree. Any questions, discussions? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and I just want to make a comment to the public. This request, and correct me if I'm wrong, this request is coming from the Renfrew Lions Club, not from Pet Value, and that's who's asking for the waiver of the fee. So I'm in favor of this.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence for information. Anybody have any questions about that letter? Confirmation of minutes. The Renfrew Town Council confirmed the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on May 13th, 2025, and the two special meetings of council dated May 6th, 2025. Mover, please. Councillor Sobolski, seconded by Councillor McWhorter. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Matters arising from Committee of the Whole. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on May 13th, 2025. 1. The Renfrew Town Council repeal bylaw 33-2012, being a bylaw to license, regulate, and govern taxi cab owners and drivers in the town of Renfrew. 2, that Renfrew Town Council awards standing offer agreements for real estate services from May 27, 25 to May 27, 2030 to the following firms, and further that staff be directed to prepare the necessary agreements and bylaws for Council's approval. CBRE Limited, Tire, P3 Advisors, Inc. And further that CBRE Limited be authorized to represent the town for the purposes of real estate transactions in accordance with the commission pricing in the submitted proposal, and further that staff be authorized and directed to execute any documents necessary to give effect to the following matters. That Renfrew Town Council formally rescind, number 3, that Renfrew Town Council formally rescind the past policy C.29 issued November 10th, 2015, municipal grant policy, and it has been suspended by the tourism events grant that came into effect January 1st, 2024, bylaw 105-2023, and grants to community partners that originally came into effect July 1st, 2023, bylaw 60-2023. Mover. Councillor Degree. Seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any discussions on these? All in favor? That's carried. Matters arising directly from Committee of the Whole. The Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on June 3rd, 2025. E.2.2, that Renfrew Town Council adopt the following resolution and direct staff to forward the same to the County of Renfrew. That Renfrew Town Council support the extension of draft approval by the County of Renfrew for property identified as being part of lots 10 and 11, concession 3, Town of Renfrew, for the draft plan of subdivision known as Hunter Gate Subdivision, having county file number 47T-92002 and town file number D/12000. E.2.4, that Renfrew Town Council approve the application to the HSWSF through grant match for the water treatment plant filter rehabilitation. And E.7.1, that Renfrew Town Council delegate up to 3 members of council, the Chief Administrative Officer, and a Renfrew County Human Resources representative to perform first-round interviews for up to 6 candidates for the position of Treasurer/Director of Finance and Corporate Services, and further that the special meeting of council be scheduled to complete second-round interviews for the top 2 to 3 candidates. Mover, please. Councillor Degree, seconded by Councillor Andrew Dick. Any questions on this? All in favor? That's carried. Moving on to bylaws. That the bylaws listed on the agenda of June 3rd, 2025 be read at first and second and third time passed. 42-2025 Town of Renfrew Parking Bylaw. 51-2025 enter into a service agreement with the Township of Whitewater for corporate communications support. 52-2025 Tax Cab License Repeal Bylaw. And 53-2025 collective agreement with Canadian Union Public Employees, QP. Mover, please. Councillor Sobalski, second by Councillor Andrew Dick. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Moving on to motions of which notice have previously been given. That Renfrew Town Council requests that Mayor Sidney consider identifying any mayoral decisions and the use of strong mayor powers in the council agenda packages, and further direct link to the information be posted on the front page of the Town of Renfrew's website to ensure ease of access to the public. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Degree. Any discussion on this? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll also like a recorded vote on this one, please. Mayor, through you to the clerk, just 2 questions. The first one is, can you explain for the public why we have to use different wording now because of the strong mayor powers? Particularly, we've had to use the word request, and that the mayor consider our motion as opposed to simply making a motion and having all of council decide. Can you just elaborate on that, please, for the public? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Sidney, and to address Councillor McDonald's. So the change in wording is because strong mayor powers are identified in legislation, and those mayoral decisions or some of the areas that have been delegated directly to the mayor, they are the mayor's responsibilities. Therefore, council is no longer able to direct or even a motion itself in the same wording that we've used before, whether it's a direct or whether it's a consider or approve. Ultimately, in those specific areas, it becomes the mayor's decision. So council could request consideration. They could ask, basically the word is request or to consider, but that ultimately it is the mayor who decides in those specific incidents. So with regards to a mayoral decision, legislation requires that a decision, if the mayor makes a decision, that it be provided to the clerk within 24 hours. The clerk is then required to ensure that council and the public are made aware of that within 24 hours. So that is in legislation. But how, for him to put it on the agenda, council doesn't have the ability to say it has to be. You can ask him and he could decide whether or not that's how he would like it to be made public. However, by putting it on the website, legislation states that that is making it public. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. And a quick follow-up, Mayor, through you again, and then I'll have just a quick statement after that. So technically, we're not talking about Mayor Sidney, but technically, any council could pass a motion like we potentially may do now, and the mayor could still overturn it afterwards, right? Am I correct in that?
Through you, Mayor Sidney. Yes. So when you ask somebody to consider something, they can take the information, they can consider it, and they can do as they choose with that decision.
Thank you. Mayor, just a quick statement for you. Thank you. This additional strong mayor power motion was brought forth to provide the transparency and accountability that the public is due. I believe council should not be making it difficult for the public to access the information. We need to make it easier for the public and to assess all of council's actions. So that's why I brought it forth. Thank you.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney, and through you, I concur. I will ask you tonight to consider moving forward that when you do make a mayoral decision using strong mayor power, that you do put it on the front of the web page. Again, I'm asking you to consider it, and again, you can do as you choose, and I just thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I just have one. So I'm totally in support of this. I'm not hiding anything. I didn't ask for this either, but I have absolutely no problem putting it on the agenda, putting it on the website. We do it already. I'm in full agreement with that. Like that's, I would never have hit it to begin with. So yeah, I'm fine with this. Any other discussion? You still want to record a vote? Call the vote.
I will start with Councillor McDonald, as he was the one who requested it.
In favor?
Councillor Legree.
In favor.
Councillor McWhorter.
In favor.
Councillor Sobalski.
In favor.
Councillor Dick.
In favor.
And Mayor Sidney.
In favor?
A motion is carried 6-6.
Moving on to the next. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to bring forward a preliminary building assessment on the McDougall Mill Museum, identifying any notable concerns and recommendations for necessary improvements. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McWhorter. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Mayor, through you. In keeping with my position that if we're going to be landlords, we need to do this well, my intention is to establish a baseline for us to move forward and to deal with any identified concerns or recommendations. Thank you.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to L3. The Renfrew Town Council considering a conditional allocation of the 2025 budget funds to the Renfrew Area Chamber of Commerce, requesting that the 2025 budget allocation of $10,000 be divided into 2 equal installments. The first installment be paid immediately following the passing of the budget, 2025 budget, and and with the second installment contingent upon the Chamber providing to the Town of Renfrew a balanced financial business plan covering the next 2 fiscal years. Mover, please. Councillor MacDonald, second by Councillor Legree. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. As council is aware, I sit on the board for our local Chamber of Commerce. I am very pro-Chamber and want to see its success. I've actually already spoken to the Chamber regarding my rationale for this motion tonight. The reality is our Chamber is currently undergoing a necessary review of policies, procedures, and organizational structure to ensure a positive business approach. This notice of motion is simply to ensure our town is conducting due diligence with taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Moving on to L4, the Renfrew Town Council directs staff to provide a comprehensive overview of the Bonachie Algonquin First Nations Town of Renfrew relationship and business arrangements for all Bonachie Algonquin First Nation leased properties at the MyFM Centre, including historical arrangements, lease information, and current status of occupancy. Mover, please. Councillor MacDonald, seconded by Councillor McWhorter. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick statement. There's been a lot of money spent at this location. Questions and concerns have been raised by taxpayers. We have a beautiful facility that includes the medicine wheel, and we want to celebrate it. However, members of the public have noticed that it doesn't appear to be open and have questions, is the facility even being used? In fact, there is a sign on the front door stating it is currently staffed by volunteers and open by appointment only, and for contact to be made by email or telephone. Millions of dollars have been spent for this facility. I have questions regarding the exact partnership between the Town of Renfrew and the BAFN. If this is a joint Town of Renfrew BAFN arrangement, what can we do to encourage open doors for our community? I'd like to know who the Town of Renfrew liaison person is with the BAFN, and what are some of the options available for us as we move forward. As noted in this motion regarding the historical arrangement, I would like to see the paperwork providing the original MOU and any amendments that have been made since. Bottom line now is, how do we get the doors open to public and to taxpayers? Much like the museum, do we get summer students involved for tours and educational awareness? As I've stated previously, if we're going to be landlords, we need to be good landlords. This report will also serve as a baseline for information regarding the joint BAFN / Town of Renfrew partnership moving forward, as we are demonstrating accountability and transparency. Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to work with the downtown Renfrew Business Improvement Area to assess the viability of a historical sign and signage location at the Algonquin Trail Railway Avenue location, and to bring back a report to Council for consideration on installation of a historic downtown Renfrew sign with funding identified and confirmation of land access and other legal requirements that may be necessary. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor Sobalski. Yeah, you're good. Any questions? Clarifications? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Any notice of motions? Councillor Anderdick.
Thank you, Mayor Sidney. My first one, I have 3 of them. And the first one, thank you to Clerk Eric for writing it for me, because the next 2 will be pretty bad. The first one, the Renfrew Town Council approved the proposed concept for the Downtown Renfrew BIA awareness and attraction boards, and direct staff to assess the viability of the proposed sign locations and report back to council with recommendations regarding the installation and any legal requirements that may be necessary. We're good? Okay, the second one, bear with me here. I'm just going to talk and then we can figure it out. Yes, we can.
You're just putting it on the table to come in 2 weeks from now.
Yes, exactly. Okay. I would like to put a motion forward to give Jack Groenwood his money back. So his bill was $700 and change. I would like to minus the $165 that he usually pays, and minus that off the $700 and change, and I would like council to consider giving him his money back for those 7 days from the 10th to the 16th from noon to noon. We're good? Thank you. And the next motion I would like to put, I would like to ask staff to investigate the situation at 356 Hague Street and give a report back to council, and then send a letter to the owner, Ms. Barr. I don't know how to word this, but I'd like, there's always more sides to the story, and we only heard one side tonight, so therefore I'd like to hear staff's side to this situation, if that's okay. That's all I have, thank you.
Any other notice motions? You good? We have no closed. Moving on to confirmatory bylaw. The Renfrew Town Council adopted confirmatory bylaw number 54-2025, and that it be read at first, second, and third time and finally passed. Mover, please. Councillor Legre, second by Councillor McWhorter. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Council. Upcoming meetings of council. Special council meeting, closed council training, June 17th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Regular council meeting, June 24th at 5:30, and we are officially adjourned at 6:31. Thank you, council.
You scared me.